Hello, I'm Casey Reams, and this is my What I Learned video from my needs assessment. I'm from George Washington University. So a little bit about the project background. The organization is a nonprofit management company in need of a new LMS or learning management system for its nonprofit association clients. The department I worked with was the Education and Learning Services Unit, and the learners in this unit were managers and employees responsible for contracting, building, and managing the LMS for nonprofit associations. So what I did in this needs assessment was first I held initial meetings to both get information on the background of the company's experience with an LMS system, and I also used this time to establish business and performance needs of both the internal and external clients from an executive level in the organization. So these meetings were held with pretty high level people to get their feelings on what the training preferences were going to be needed. I also reviewed data, so I looked at training material that was available to the learners for the LMS system that they had chosen to implement. I also looked at existing data on internal staff trainings in the same area of LMS management from prior LMS systems. I sent out a survey for all learners who would be using this system to get information on learning needs and learner preference. And then I held follow-up interviews with select staff to confirm some of the findings from the surveys or to get additional information that I thought would be helpful in some of my recommendations. So what I really learned here was that there was two distinct performance gaps and identified learner groups. There was both a management group, and that was a group that was going to be responsible for contracting and managing the client relationship for the learning management systems with the distinct associations. And then there was the group of learners who would actually be implementing the systems. That's a lot of building out the LMS sites, uploading courses, and doing day-to-day management of pulling reports and helping users do any sort of customer service pieces. I also learned that the level of need varied for these individual learners. Most of the learners had multiple clients, so in some cases they were going to be using the LMS system, in some cases they weren't. And then you also found that some of the learners were going to be more on the management side, like I said earlier with the two distinct performance gaps, or some of them would be more on the day-to-day level. So it really varied for what they were going to do. They had high priorities and tight timelines for continuing education, and really their experiences were going to be varied based on those clients and their job descriptions, the different client work that they were doing, not just on their specific distinction as far as what level they were. So my recommendation was two distinct training programs. And what I initially thought was going to be the manager level training or how to sell and support clients would actually be the training that would be attended by all learners. So this group would be able the whole unit would be able to conduct business and be able to talk about the LMS system with their clients. And then that second group of learners was going to be a super user group who would be those that would be doing the kind of in the weeds of the day-to-day management and using the LMS and building the systems. I'm going to have to be very familiar with a lot of the training. They're the group that I identified as a group of super users, and they're going to be proficient in full LMS systems and teach additional staff and new hires how to manage that system. So as new hires are brought on, they would be that group that would really help train them. They would be the expert, and they would be able to use the knowledge for the people who would be responsible for the day-to-day management of the system. And that's it. So thanks a lot for listening to my overall needs assessment lessons learned.